What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sports Degenerate Podcast. Today we got another waiver wire episode for Week 8. For the people that are new, I post a separate episode for each position. So whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, check out my feed. There will be a separate episode for quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Let's hop into it. I have 6 wide receivers for you guys. All of these players are 33% rostered or less, so they should be pretty available in your leagues. My number 1 wide receiver pickup for Week 8 is Jalen Tolbert. He's been on this waiver wire list for weeks now, and he continues to be a solid fantasy wide receiver. He is the clear wide receiver 2 behind CeeDee Lamb in this Cowboys offense. Tolbert has had 3 games with 13 or more points, and he is averaging over 5 targets per game. I think he continues to be a solid option. Number 2 is Dontayvion Wicks. This is pretty straightforward. Wicks is on a great offense with a great quarterback, so he always has upside for a good game on any given week. He had over 13 points last week. The only problem with all of the Packers wide receivers is consistency. There are so many options on this team for Jordan Love to throw to, so you never know who is going to benefit on a weekly basis. The Packers do play the Jags, who have a terrible secondary, so Wicks is in a good spot to succeed in Week 8. Number 3 is Jalen McMillan. So he has been the number 3 wide receiver on the Bucs so far this season, but on Monday night, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both left with injuries, and it looks like they are out for a while. So with those 2 out, he is probably going to see an increased role, and we know the Bucs are a passing offense. They don't run the ball the best. So he might be a solid option in your lineup for the foreseeable future. Number 4 is Tutu Atwell. He's been on this list for weeks, and he continues to perform. He's had 11 or more points in 4 straight games. And I said this last week about Tutu. Even with Cooper Kupp returning, which it looks like he is going to play this week, Tutu is still going to be part of this Rams offense because he gives this Rams offense a speed aspect to their game plan. So even with Cooper Kupp back, I still think Tutu gives you a solid floor. Number 5 is Rashad Bateman. He has been surprisingly solid this year. He's had 11 or more points in 4 of 6 games. He is the wide receiver who runs the deep routes in this Ravens offense. I will say I think his production is fluky and hard to predict. The Ravens just don't throw the ball a lot, and there are so many weapons in Zay Flowers and the 2 tight ends. So Bateman could give you a 0 on any given week, but he's on an elite offense, and there's always upside. We've seen it with him so far. So he's not a terrible option if you need a wide receiver. Number 6 is Cedric Tillman. Once Deshaun Watson went down, Tillman really benefited. He had 8 catches for 81 yards. This Browns pass offense is going to be way better without Deshaun Watson. I will say it might have been a 1-week thing for Tillman because the Browns still have Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, and Elijah Moore. But Tillman is worth a stash, or it can be a desperation start because maybe this continues. Maybe the other quarterbacks on this team like targeting Tillman. I also want to bring up some streaming defenses for you guys. I have 3 options, all of them 33% rostered or less, so they should be pretty available. All of these options I really like, actually. We have some good options this week. Number 1 is the Chiefs. The Chiefs have only allowed a team over 20 points once this year, and the Chiefs have been elite on film as well. Their run defense is top 5 in the league, and we know the Chiefs are always good at bringing pressure with Spagnuolo as the defensive coordinator. This week, they play the Raiders, which is a great matchup. I love the Chiefs this week. Number 2 is the Packers. I said this last week. We have to start considering the Packers as an elite defense. They have forced at least 1 turnover in every single game this year. Some games, multiple turnovers. And they just held the Texans to 21 points. This week, they play the Jaguars, which is a great matchup. And number 3 is the Chargers. The Chargers have been the best defense in the NFL when it comes to points allowed. They haven't even allowed a team to score 20 points all year. This week, they played the Saints with a rookie quarterback in Spencer Rattler. The Chargers defense is about to feast. The only reason I have them third is just because they played on Monday night, so they have less rests than the Saints, so they're going to be more tired, so maybe tired legs, but I still like them because the matchup is so good. So those are 3 streaming defenses for you guys. Like I said, I have a separate waiver wire episode for each position, so go check all of them out. Like always, if you have any questions about fantasy, either comment on the podcast, comment on YouTube, or DM me on social media. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I love all of you.